Then a confirmed tornado on the ground just passing Gum Springs Road. You can see again, Gum Springs Road also gets to the south of this circulation, so it eventually turns right and off to the north. There is our circulation, plain as day, crossing with lofted debris on radar to the east of Gum Springs Road. That circulation will still move to the north and east, and again, cannot stress this enough for folks in Winfield. This is going to move very, very close to you in the next 20 to 30 minutes. You're outside of the warning area for now, but there is a look at that couplet. And again, very well-defined circulation that should carry this storm to the north and east, eventually would cross 167 and then continue off into portions of eventually northeastern Wynn Parish and southern Caldwell Parish.
Now, your local weather with Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd.
Well, updating you from 5 and 6, it's still raining. We take a look at the new live storm tracker Doppler radar brought to you by E. Orm Young. And this is a different radar image than I showed you earlier. It's just basically looks the same. As widespread rain continues to move through, we'll take a closer look at those rain totals in just a minute. But again, it doesn't look any better off to our west and our southwest. As I mentioned, the upper level system digs in tonight, and that should help improve rain rates, especially with an area of low pressure developing in the far western Gulf. Here's the rain total so far. Again, 1.15 inches of rain in Monroe, about 2 1/3 inches of rain in El Dorado, just over 2.5 inches of rain in Shreveport, and most of these areas will continue to stack onto that up until midnight tonight. 2 inches of rain almost in Monticello. So you add that on to the 2 and 3 inch rain totals that are still yet to come, if not more, and our forecast is generally falling in line pretty nicely. Again, heaviest rain sets up through the early morning and mid-morning hours. By late morning, most of this starts moving eastward. Again, some leftover showers with much less rain intensity moving through, and the wraparound precip expected to be a non-factor, but the clouds will hold through much of Sunday. Forecast generally remains unchanged. Still haven't touched this graphic, although it really kind of wanted to shift that red just a little bit farther northward to include El Dorado. But at this point, we're splitting hairs, and generally everyone will fall in that 3 to 5 inch window. I think the locally higher amounts will be very isolated. Flash flood watches remain in effect. We have one warning out over Lufkin, Texas. Really no bother for us, at least in the short term. Lows tonight in the mid-40s. Again, temperatures won't budge much. And, of course, some spots will be colder than that, especially across South Arkansas. Some spots will be warmer than that across central sections of Louisiana. Temperatures tomorrow. Again, you pick them. Anywhere from the upper 40s to low 50s. Winds breezy out of the northeast. To look at the rest of the forecast, shows afternoon highs topping back out in the mid-40s for Sunday as the skies clear gradually. Sunshine Monday, Tuesday, but more unsettled and rainy weather for the second half of this week. And the reason I say you pick them for the forecast is not because what you pick is what's going to actually show up. Is you probably have just as good a guess at picking the high temperature tomorrow as I do. So, wow. Everybody, good luck. Michael is expected to move into the Gulf of Mexico later this afternoon and this evening and could make landfall as a major hurricane when it reaches the Florida Panhandle later this week. And we'll take a closer look at the satellite images and the forecast cone from Michael in just a second. It is going to be a very serious system for portions of the Gulf Coast to deal with later on this week. No impacts for us, and we'll explain why in just a minute. Here's a look at the new live storm tracker Doppler radar brought to you by E. Orm Young. A few isolated storms from the Sykes area southward and stretching into far southeastern reaches of Jackson Parish, and then also in and around the Downsville area we have a little isolated storm. But again, a lot to cover, and so with a lot of this activity generally moving to the southwest, or northwest rather, most of the winds at the low levels of the atmosphere are out of the southeast. So they're really driving a lot of these shallow top storms that we've run into this afternoon. Still very messy across the Plain States and stretching from the Dallas-Fort Worth area southward to Austin and northward up into Oklahoma City and into central Kansas. That's where our frontal system's been hanging out for a couple of days, and that front is going to really start moving tonight and tomorrow. There's our area of low pressure associated with it, but all of this moving eastward. Now, I will also say this. We've dropped the rain chances down from 50 down to 40% because a lot of this activity as it moves eastward is going to be colliding with high pressure that still rules out to the east, so the rain coverage should really shrink as this front moves eastward. So we're not expecting the kind of coverage that folks to our west have seen over the last couple of days. Here's a look at Michael. Maximum sustained winds now at 80 miles per hour. As pressures dropped to 978. This thing got organized in a hurry.